Now I've seen a lot of beginners will take just a blank canvas with one color, grab the type tool, click on it, and just start typing away. This is my product, and it's not too pretty, is it? So I'm going to go ahead and just show you how to get creative. Let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this in the trash. Grab the rectangular marquee tool, and I want you to just create like an area, just an area. Imagine on your product, do you have features? On your ebook, what can you tell the visitor? What can you put on your ebook? A short paragraph or features that will tell them exactly what it is in the least amount of words as possible. Write it down and then come into Photoshop and just section it off. I'm going to make a new layer for this. By the way, make a new layer for all the shapes that you create in Photoshop. So later on when you come back, you can change the color of those each individual shapes. Very good idea. I'm going to come over here and just make the little border here on the little section on the bottom of the box here, and then fill that in with black. I'm going to select the paint bucket tool, click on the foreground color on the toolbar, select black, and click OK. And I'll just click in the selection there and fill it in. So this is kind of cool because I have a little area down here to display some features, but it separates it from the rest of the box. I don't want to interfere or blend because I want I want their eyes to be drawn to that area on the box, and just so they can, their eyes can rest in different spots on the box besides being just overwhelmed with all this stuff. Okay. After I've selected, I filled it in, I'm going to come up here to select and deselect. Now, the membership manager box, they put their name brand or their name right on the top there, Enterprise. Okay? Well, what I'm going to do is do something similar. I'm just going to go ahead and select the rectangular marquee tool and follow this top guide here. Now, this is also going to be a black border, black shape on this box. So I'm going to do it on the same layer. I'm going to keep it on the same layer here. Like they say, if you don't know the rules, or if you can only break the rules if you know what the rules are. And so that's what happens in this case. So I'll just go ahead and make this line here. Just there we go. Again, folks, all improvised. I'm going to go ahead and just come up here to select and deselect. Okay? So I've got a nice border top panel here, and I've got a top or a bottom panel on the bottom here to display things, to put things. Now in the middle, I can do a lot. I can put a background photo in the middle here. I can put the name of the box right here. I can even change the color of the sides of the box. Why don't I do that right now? I'm just going to come up here, and I'll make the top black here. I'll just pull over a little bit. That makes sure I get this completely filled. Boom. There we go. I'll have the top of the box just plain black, and then everything else will be just like it is, because this is the top box, and this is the side of the box, this is the front. Okay? All right, moving right along. Here we go. So we have our box. It's all laid out. And folks, don't just be restricted to the rectangular marquee tool. This tool right here that we used to create these shapes, don't just be restricted to that. There's also other tools in here. We have the elliptical marquee tool that you can use, okay? And this is where you can draw like a large circle like this. I'll make a new layer here. I'll click on layer 1, which is my background, and create a new layer in between my background layer and the layer with my black shapes. And I can just go in here, select a color, red, select the paint bucket tool, fill it in, deselect, and then I can like do some overlay effects with that for the box. I can move it around, and since it's on its own layer, I can do anything with it. I can just put it anywhere, over here, over there, and I could even come up here to image, adjustments, down here to hue and saturation, and since that I put that shape on its own layer, all I have to do is change the hue, and that'll change the color of the shape. You see that? So this is why we put things on separate layers as well. See, I could come in here and click on layer 1, which is my background, come up here to image, adjustments, and select hue and saturation. And like I said before, you don't have to use the color or, spend 5 minutes trying to figure out which color you want to use and then worry about if it's going to look good later on. Don't worry about it. Put it on its own layer, open up the hue and saturation, and just move the hue slider around. Look at that. So you have different colors to choose from in real time. So instead of selecting, keep selecting the paint bucket, filling in with a different color, just come in here and use the hue. You can even adjust the saturation or lower the saturation. Okay? You can also experiment with the lightness. If you go all the way up, it's going to go white though. If you go all the way down, it's going to go black. So I'm going to go ahead and just cancel out of this. But this is why it's good to keep all the shapes on their own layers. Watch this. I'll cancel out of this. I'll click on the top layer, layer 2, that has my black shapes on it. I'm going to come up here to Image, Adjustments, come down here to Hue and Saturation, and then I can come over here to the Colorize button. Right here, boom. And then brighten it up just a little bit, and then add some saturation, and look what happens. Those black areas, those black shapes, all of a sudden become color shapes. And now I can select this hue and saturation. Look at this. And you set it, just get it just like how you want it. So that's why it's handy to have those shapes and stuff on their own layer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on layer 3 and just go ahead and throw that in the trash. This is the end of part 2 of Getting Creative with eCovers. Please open or download part 3.